Natalia and Yaroslav started building their own house 5 years ago. They did everything with their own hands in order to live with 2 daughters in warmth and comfort. The family celebrated a housewarming party in 2020, and in 2022 Russian invaders entered the Kyiv region.
My sister called me and said that the Kadyrov militants were here. She asked Yaroslav to cover the girls with potatoes, otherwise he would be murdered and the girls would be abused. In the morning, Yaroslav managed to take the girls out because the Russian occupiers moved a little further to the landing. They were recaptured there during the night.
A day after the family managed to leave, Russian troops destroyed their house. 3 direct hits. A few days later, Yaroslav signed a contract with the armed forces of Ukraine.
When they went to Bakhmut, I asked him, said, "Dear, you cannot go. You are partially suitable, you can." To which he answered me briefly and clearly, and I knew it was useless to argue. "Have you forgotten Bucha? I have 2 kids, 2 daughters and a wife. I don't want the Russians back. If we don't keep them there, it will happen again."
In November 2022, Yaroslav was killed in the battles for Bakhmut.
Rebuilding the house itself is not difficult for any builder. We all understand this. But let's be frank, in order to enter a good house, one must also have a restored soul.
The essence of the approach is not to build houses, but to print them, using a special printer, assembled, by the way, in Ukraine.
A 3D printer builds the house not in bricks or blocks, but in layers. The main material which is used is a mixture of cement, sand and plasticide. Thanks to modern technology, housing takes shape in front of our eyes. Literally, the house grows by dozen centimeters every hour.
Важить він 2,5 тонни, якщо це цікаво, да?
The printer weighs 2.5 tons. It produces both the finish and the supporting parts at the same time, and this makes it possible to print a building, for example, in 5-10 days. The latest European technologies have been introduced here. The house will be warm, reliable and energy efficient.
Another feature of this house will be a room with a high level of security. One wall of it, created with a printer, will protect family during air raids in the same way as 2 walls without windows in ordinary houses. This decision of architects and builders is especially important because the basement is not provided for in this house.
The walls are planned to be built mainly at night. Indeed, in the 30-degree heat, it is difficult for both people and machines to work. Despite the weather, the walls of the house, both load-bearing and interior, will be ready in 5 to 6 days. Finishing work is expected to be completed within a month.
We created this house with the construction, with the concept, we developed it, and now we are bringing it to life. There will be also standard projects which, for example, will be included in the technical base of the equipment, and there may be individual projects, as we see in this case.
The speed of construction, the simplicity of technology, and the relatively low price, all these are the advantages of a printed house, and so the designers are confident that 3D construction will make it possible to quickly provide for new housing for those Ukrainians whose houses were destroyed by the Russian army. Reported by Pavo Shtelmach, Valeria Nikipilova, Viktor Golovko, UATV News.